Hello everybody. So today I want to talk about calculus. The topic that is about the area. So now I want to show you how to answer. We know that number 2 that is about the square root of number 2, everything to the power of 2. Now we need to draw the diagram in here. So we know that the radius of the circle that is about this one. And the center that is about 0, 0. So below the line y equals to negative number 1. So that should be this line in here. So they want to find this area. Now we need to know that we put s square go to the right. And now we put the square root for the both sides. So we have y equals to the square root of number 2 minus s square, and y equals to negative of the square root of number 2 minus s square. So this curl in here, that is about y equals to negative of the square root of number 2 minus s square. And now we can set up about this integration. Now we need to find the intersection of this one and this one. So that should be about negative of number 2 minus s square equals to negative number 1. So we cancel the negative and negative, and we just have 2 minus s square with the square root equals to number 1. So that means we just have 2 minus s square equals to number 1. So if we simplify and we have s square equals to number 1, and we have s equals to number 1, and s equals to negative number 1. So this one that is about negative number 1. This one that is about positive number 1. So we have the area equals to the integration from negative number 1 to positive number 1. So we need to know that we can use about the upper function minus the lower function. So based on the graph, we can see that the upper function that is about this one, the lower function that is about this one. So the upper that is about negative number 1. The lower we have negative of negative number 2 minus s square. So negative and negative we have positive. Now I will focus on this one. So we can use about integration by trigonometric substitution. So I will put about s equals to the square root of number 2 sine t. Because if I put this one go in here, we have number 2 sine t square, number 2 and number 2. We can do about factorization. 1 minus sine t square, we change for cosine t square, and later that we simplify the square root. Now we need to do first the derivative for the both sides, and we have like this. Now we need to change the bounds. When s equals to negative number 1, that is from here. So I will put negative number 1 cone here, and then we divide both sides by the square root of number 2, so we can find the value of t. That is about negative b over 4. When s equals to number 1, we put number 1 gone here, so we can find the value of t. That is about b over 4. And now we have the integration from negative b over 4 to positive b over 4. And now we have the square root of number 2 minus number 2 sine t square. This one we have the square root of number 2 cosine t dt. Now number 2 and number 2 we can do about factorization. So the square root of number 2 and the square root of number 2, we have number 2. This one, that is about cosine t square. And then this one we have cosine t. So cosine t and cosine t, we have cosine t square. And now we have the formula in here. So cosine 2t plus 1 over number 2 dt. So number 2 and number 2 we cancel. So we just have only cosine 2t plus 1. The integration of this one, we have 1 over 2 sine 2t. About number 1, that is about t in here. So we put the bounds from negative b over 4 to positive b over 4. So I will put b over 4 gone here and negative b over 4 gone here. So we have number 1 plus b over 2. So that means this one we have 1 plus b over 2. The integration of negative number 1, that is about negative s, and we put the bound from negative number 1 to positive number 1. So I will put number 1 and negative number 1. That should be like this. So we have b over 2 minus number 1. This is the end. Thank you for watching.